Recorded March 10th, 2025. Sure. Welcome to the Microsoft Security Insight Podcast, aka Red Cup Security. Good afternoon, Ray. Good afternoon, Brody. And that delinquent Rodney is still not here. So, how you doing, Ray?
Oh my goodness, I am. It's been a whirlwind. I want a Red Cup Security moment for my. I want a red jug security moment.
Red jug security.
I like that. I like a punch bowl.
Just a funnel. Just IV me.
Yeah, I like that.
That type of day, huh?
Oh my God. Yes. All good. These are privileged problems to have, if at all problems, right? Like just my 6-year-old, now she's 6. So I had a like business mode, then ran to the school to do story time because everybody knows I have a very strong maternal instinct. Like it's palpable. And then I ran back to do more like high profile customer meetings and then figure out operational models with some of our incredible MISA partners. Oh my gosh, they're amazing. Shout out to Blue Voyant collaborating on just building out something amazing. So yeah, that's just business momming. And capstone. Oh, I'm right at the precipice of graduation. Just have a few more weeks. So shout out to Utica University, third masters. The no more school, never again.
Keeping them afloat. There you go. Give them back.
So that was just a little bit about me. How's your week been?
I'm troubleshooting something from last week. Can't really talk about it on the show. Added some more features and high availability to the networking equipment that Noodle hates. So I got that working. Playing around with some new Sentinel stuff, and I guess the way that Sentinel stores non-essential logs or non-high fidelity logs. Hey, look at the baby. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Holly.
Yeah. No,
she's like, oh my God, Mama, what did I do bad? I'm not, Mommy, I will be good.
No, she's happy. She's happy.
Happy birthday, Holly.
They can see you, sweetie.
Hello. Happy
Molly,
birthday. Nice dress.
All right, sweetie. Okay, this is your debut. Great, amazing. You came a little bit early.
That's okay. Nothing of importance was missed.
Nothing.
I was listening to.
I'm hallucinating just like Copilot stuff, right?
No, we call them distortions. We call them distortions. Yes, that's more inclusive language.
Distortion of the reality.
Distortions.
Yes.
That's
I code like an AI drug. Could it then be a hallucination?
Well, no, Maria Young put me onto that. I thought it was like spectacular the way that they're framing it, because the industry does like they use hallucinations, but it's not actually capturing it's not as precise as a distortion, I would say. So I think it's actually more helpful and effective in its framing. Yes. So Spencer's watching this in recording. She could see it. I know exactly what it is that she was engaging with last week. Yeah.
Distortion seems deliberate, though.
Like
in the truth, right?
Intentional. Like,
yeah.
Like, imagine that's what they.
If anybody's doing that, our days are numbered. But no, I'm breaking some simple stuff. I'm really super deep into that thing. And, that's it. Mondays is sort of odd for us because usually when we used to do the show on Wednesday, you had 2 days to, now we come back Monday, we up against the wall. Brody, what about you?
Mondays are so hard.
Yes.
Get ready for this show because I am Monday's the busiest day. And I'm just I'm sorry, excuse me. I am quite busy all day. And then the show, and I have I've just been doing all the Monday things, man. Big time projects, big time debates and calls, and
who are you debating
and designing. Oh, it's a long story, but part of field work is coming to a consensus between Microsoft and the customer. And so these conversations can turn into debates at times, or the definition.
The customer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it's like more brainstorming. You're brainstorming and then reconciling their business needs with operational feasibility and supportability.
Yes, exactly, Ray. Ooh,
Yeah.
Very good structured sentence, making sense of my thoughts. I really appreciate that.
No, I mean, please dial me in to any debate that you're having with a customer. Yeah. I cannot imagine you debating. You're always so
Brody is always argumentative. Brody likes a good debate. Is that what it is? Debating.
Yes, I do.
The customer is not always right. There you go. That's it. Debating. Fancy word. I was having a difference of opinion with the customer today.
Also, a better way of structuring that phrase. Yes, I like that. We had differences of opinion, but we also have a lot of commonality. It's just
shared goals and alignment towards that North Star. It's just tactically how we're going to achieve it, and
synergy between the teams.
Harmonizing. I love a good harmonizing line because we're like, I have not heard harmonizing. Like, ooh, she's cooking. Yes, I am. Yes, and wait till you get to enjoy the full feast before you.
For someone say Edward's got a beard. Yep, Edward's lazy, doesn't like to shave. I got a bunch of show notes, but I'm not going to do the readout like I did last week. Been doing a lot of reading to catch up on some stuff, doing more work in identity. I had a really cool link for Purview that one of my peers is doing for FSI community. Big shout out to Nancy Collins. I think they'll be on the show here next week. But she's doing DLP as a service, and with Copilot is actually pretty slick, and they're doing it next month. So I'm going to get it all advertised out for the next show. I just forgot to bring over the collateral. So. But hey, we have a great guest on the show sitting in the green room, eating up all the snacks. Got to get out of there. What's the over-under? Did I butcher her name when I say it? Any over-under?
Oh, I'm always betting against you when it comes to names.
Hey,
he will debate you on the name.
He's going to debate whether I said it correctly or not. I'll let the guest. So I'm going to bring her on right now.
That's why you just let her do her own introduction.
Yeah.
I like hearing you mess it up, honestly. Hi, Lisa. Sorry.
Nope. I'm ready to hear it. Let's do the guesswork.
Lisa Perdelwitz.
No. Perdelwitz. But it's okay. It's okay. I have been married for 21 years and my mother still can't say it.
Oh.
There you go.
So it's not just you.
So this time. The correct pronunciation of your last name?
Perdelwitz, but I will answer to hey you, to Lisa.
Just as long as they're calling, right? Yeah.
So welcome. You are a friend and a guest of Ray on the show. So Ray,
Lisa's kick ass. I'm gonna provide space for Lisa to introduce herself, but I met her during DEF CON in Vegas. And she's like, oh, yeah, no big deal. I'm just kind of saving the world. I was CISO of this huge company. And then I decided I'm going to step back and then just focus on global impact in a significant way and just follow my passions in terms of empowering and protecting the world. I was like, oh, yeah, no, definitely, for sure. So it blew my mind. And I thought, wow, this human being is quite exceptional and super special. And we are privileged to have her with us on the show. And again, Lisa, please share your actual CV and let us know who you are, what you've done, and what you're doing right now.
Wow, she makes me sound way more interesting than I am. So I wish she hadn't introduced me because now I have to live up to that.
You got this, Lisa. We believe in you. It's okay. You can make some stuff up if you want.
Thank you for that support. I just met you 5 minutes ago, but I need that support.
You're welcome. Anytime.
I entered cybersecurity and leadership about 25 years ago when I joined the Air Force. And that in and of itself was a huge thing. When we're talking about women in cybersecurity, I never really understood the phrase, you can't be what you can't see, until I realized I joined the Air Force because of my sister. My father would have bet his mortgage I would not try to do anything that would require people telling me what to do in off hours or getting dirt under my fingernails. But I would go visit her at the Air Force Academy. She's 8 years older than me. And I would see this camaraderie and this esprit de corps that at the age of 14, I didn't know what that exactly, how to get that, but I was like, I want it. So I joined the Air Force as well. I didn't go to the academy. I went to the #2 party school in the world, University of Alabama. But I joined the Air Force, and I wound up going into cybersecurity, and I wound up being a people leader the very first day I was in, with 24 people under me and 21 years old. And I found that as much as I love cyber, leadership was even my bigger passion. I didn't know what I was doing. Amazing people came alongside me and showed me how to be a leader, and roll tide, yes. And then I came off of full-time active duty when I got pregnant with my daughter, because I wanted to not deploy. And that was about 15 years ago. I entered full-time corporate. I continued to moonlight in the Air National Guard. And that was a lie about deploying, because I've done it 3 times since I went into the Air National Guard for a year each. But the Air National Guard unit that I was in out of Seattle was phenomenal. I mean, some of the smartest people in the world. And that's really where I saw full spectrum cyber security and cut my teeth on what it means to be a cyber expert. And I mean, everyone in that unit was far smarter than I was, but I decided through my exposure to that full spectrum that cyber defense was, in my opinion, the sexiest. Even though people say offense is the sexiest, I think defense is harder. And I leaned into that. And so I'm a people leader here and a people leader on the corporate side, and doing defense in both of them. And that's where strategizing just became something I loved, because it was almost like solving puzzles all the time, and being a mouthpiece for these really weird neurodivergent people that were just so amazing, but didn't know how to put what they were doing in these business terms that a non-cyber person could understand, so they could feel value add. And so I found my niche there, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
Very cool, Lisa.
That's a lot. But first, thank you for your service.
I haven't retired yet. August will be 25 years, and that's what I want to be when I grow up, is retired from the Air Force. So.
Oh, 10 years Navy myself. 25. Yeah, you do that. Oh, okay. So, yeah, Air Force wouldn't take me, so I had to go to second string. That's okay. It's all right. So it's known that service members that separate from the Air Force are some of the top cybersecurity practitioners when they come out. That it has a great reputation to produce some great civilian cybersecurity. I was part of the TEALS program for a couple of years here, and the MEALS program here at Microsoft, being able to help those service members transition into the career. So there's some sharp people that come, really. And it makes you think, wow, I mean, civil service or military is not too far in skill set behind civilian and commercial. So that's really good. I'm surprised they let you go. Can you talk? Can you still talk about the things you do in the Air National Guard? Is it,
no. I can talk about some of it, some not of it. But being in the Air National Guard, one thing I love about it, it's kind of the best of both worlds. And that's one of my passions, is there's this sort of imaginary lines that we draw in cyber, I think, that hinder us, whether we're talking about company borders or public-private sector borders. And those lines, they truly are imaginary. It's one network, and the opportunity for destruction comes kind of at those seams that we don't want to talk about because of competition or siloing. And so being in the Air National Guard, I get an opportunity to kind of break down some of those silos by leading people who do this in the civilian world 28 days out of the month, and then come over into the military and do it there 2 or 3 days out of the month, or maybe they get deployed and they can do things there that they don't have the authority to do in corporate. But you can sort of merge these resources of a government with the training and the capitalist driven speed and acceleration and best practices of corporate to make a powerhouse of people who can kick ass. And I really enjoy being around that.
Yeah, there is that thing that when you talk to, and you see now that you told me you were in the Air Force, I can see it.
Really? Because most people think it's my husband that's in.
No. So what do you do now?
Well, on the military side, I'm actually head of plans and programs for the state of Virginia. And I have just I'm wrapping up a project on my way out the door that is one of my favorite of my career. When Finland joined NATO in April, I think 2 years ago next month, they became eligible for something called a state partnership program with the US. And what that is that it's a contract you sign with the US that will pair you with a state so that you can work together to bring up your collective warfare programs in whatever area you deem necessary. And so when they joined NATO in April, I asked my boss, who is I call her the second jumper. The OG jumper was chairman of the Joint Chiefs a long time ago. So it's his daughter. They're both generals, runs in the family, I guess. But I asked her if I could work on courting Finland cyber leadership to maybe get them to a place where we could show them how we could bring up our collective cyber warfare programs against, given that they share the largest border with our arch nemesis, Russia, my arch nemesis, I'll not speak for everyone else, to be able to partner together to bring up our programs together and really make an impact in that way. And she, being the fantastic leader she is, gave me a lot of autonomy and the resources to be able to do that. So I began courting them in April 2 years ago. And in May of last year, they signed that contract with the US and they were assigned to Virginia for cyber warfare programs. So we're now in the throes of working together to make our programs stronger together, and absolutely excited to see the impact that has made so quickly, because that's really rare to see in the government sector. Such a quick change.
Wow, that's a lot. And I'm a little bit jealous. Some of the greatest satisfaction you have is serving, right? And you see meaningful results and impact from what you're doing. Sometimes that gets blurred in the civilian world. Go, go, go. And all the time you measure success is, the bottom line, and, but it feels good to sit back and say, I did that, right? I made somebody's life better, literally, life better. You're talking about NATO and alliances and, country sovereignty and protection. And you said the borders are, you gave a metaphor, the borders are grayed out. In the cyber realm, there are no borders, and right. Then, we always talk about superpowers, but we look at superpowers as conventional and nuclear exchange and warfare. You don't have to be a large nation to be a cyber superpower. You just have to be skilled to have a bandwidth or somebody else's bandwidth. So, man, that's great. So you told us what you do on the serving side. What about the civilian side?
Well, back to making that impact that you can see and feel that I kind of feed off of. I started my own company about 6 months ago. It is not where I want it to be by any means, but I decided I wanted to leave corporate and do something where I could help people on a case-by-case basis that want to be helped. And I don't know if you guys ever feel this way, but I sometimes feel on the corporate side where I'm working with people who've been assigned to me who don't necessarily want to be there and don't necessarily want don't necessarily want to be better, and that can be a little bit soul crushing to be around all the time. So I started a company called Legilo, which is focused on coaching, mentoring, helping others develop strategy for cybersecurity, helping CISOs tell the story to the boards better, because I think that's an area that's really lacking right now, is being able to tell the story to the business so that they understand the value that people bring. And that goes back to my passion of being that mouthpiece for the ones that are really doing the work. And so I've been doing that for about 6 months, and I am honestly happier than I've ever been. So I'm hopeful that it will be something I can do long term.
For sure. I have every confidence in you, Lisa, and I love the way that you articulated it when I first met you. And it was more so along the lines of the talent that you had deployed to you or assigned to you wasn't necessarily supported in the ways that they needed in order for them to be as successful as possible. And that's kind of where this calling and drive came from. Is it like, if I were to step back from this very specific position and have more latitude in how I can extend all of my capabilities, all of my experience and my passions, can I help drive this mission more effectively, right? So it's I love how you're balancing the helping CISOs understand the narration or the storytelling around the business value of a robust security program, and also setting up the technical talent with the skill set to be as successful as they can be, because often there's a very narrow approach to what even success looks like, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. And in fact, I was at a speaking engagement the other day where the audience asked me, what are the questions I get asked most frequently from CISOs, and what are the questions they're not asking that they should be? And the thing they ask me most is, how do I get my leadership to give me more resourcing or funding? But the thing they ask the least is, how do I get the most out of my team in an era where we're probably not going to get a heck of a lot more resourcing from our leadership? Our teams are the delta in what can give us more. And it doesn't mean work harder for less, but work differently in a way where you're higher performing and you're conjuring the ultimate potential out of that team. And I see a lot of companies that don't even have CISOs that have ever done cybersecurity. I saw a Fortune 500 the other day that hired a global head of defense and incident response. The person had never been a people leader, had never been in a cybersecurity organization. And in that situation, how do you even know the types of people that tend to flock to cybersecurity? Because I think while we're very diverse, there's also some common threads there for sure that that you should be familiar with and know how to lead that to its full potential. And it almost even marginalizes the work that all those members do to bring somebody over them that doesn't have any experience in that realm. And so to be able to guide leaders to understand what they should be focused on and what's really important in terms of valuing their team is probably my favorite thing in the world to do.
Well, that person was probably a good bean counter, right? And
are they extra expendable? Like, oh, nobody even likes this person, so if they're on the hook, we're just gonna push them out. They have no ties to any of the talent. They don't have any work history related to cyber. That's fine. But it's quite jarring to have that level of leadership almost implemented just at the top down. That's gobsmacking. What would you say would be the three top things that you would want for folks to keep top of mind as they build out their teams and manage their teams and nurture those talents and strengths?
Don't pick the people you surround yourself with to be like you. I'm very much an extrovert, if you can't tell. That is probably not the more common between extrovert and introvert within cybersecurity. So one of my key inner circle people is a diehard introvert that has no problems telling me like it is. Lisa, what you just said to that group of introverts did not land the way you thought it did, right? And that is critical to me understanding and growing and being able to lead my teams in increasingly effective ways, but also riding the ship really quickly if I say something that could fester otherwise, and maybe I didn't even know. So counterintuitive to our human nature to want to put people around us that say all the things we want to hear, but picking those people that are different from you that don't say the things that you want to hear, they're hard to say. I would say you can always teach skills, but you can't teach curiosity and resilience and perseverance, and that person that just needs to continue to pull the thread to understand the answer to the puzzle, passion. So I will hire that all day and teach them how to do cybersecurity if I have to pick between the two. And the third one is constantly be asking those around you what you can do better in a really humble way. A lot of people do a lot of lip service to the values and then they don't really live them out. And so I think if you're acting them out through your teams, they'll believe you believe in those values in a way that will make you collectively just so much stronger and healthier and high performing.
Yeah. And you said something very interesting. You're saying that the human or the people aspect is the delta between being able to, do more with less. And, I feel for the CISO if he's reporting up to the CFO. So you know how that's going to go, right? Yeah. I've seen that happen. But what would you say to the executives to say, well, AI is going to make up the manpower difference, right? I'm just asking the question. I'm not the person that believes that, right? Because it doesn't hallucinate anymore.
Yeah.
It has what's the thing, Ray, that it does these days?
Distortion.
Distortion. Yeah. Every time I hear distortion in a Star Trek episode, it's bad. I've never heard someone say, "Captain, there's a distortion on the port side." That's pretty good. Let's go with that. So
yeah, we're going with the AI is distorting deliberately. So that is a new fear that we're disseminating into the public. Yeah, you've heard it here, folks. Yeah. This is all. That's jokes for legal reasons. This is for entertainment purposes only.
So Lisa, so I know it has to come up on your radar. No Air Force pun intended, but how do you navigate that discussion? Whereas, how's AI going to help my strategy with the shortage of this manpower that seems so hard to get? But I always hear all these jobs that are available. So the math ain't mathing. But let's talk about the AI aspect of it.
First of all, I like to make sure we're all using the same terms for AI, because a lot of leadership don't know what AI is. I'll get into a room and they'll use automation and AI interchangeably and not realize that that isn't a thing. So really understanding very crisply the definition of AI, but then I like to actually start with showing them a CISO mind map. And there's one of my favorites, but if you've never seen a CISO mind map that outlines all the things CISOs are responsible for, it's daunting. There are thousands of line items there. And I like to say, okay, so you think that AI can do all the jobs, but here's where I've bucketed out of this mind map. This is everything you think I should be able to do. Here's the things we're doing today under my org. Here's the things I have no authority over that are under the engineering org or the software development org. And here's the things that, as far as I can tell, nobody's doing. And so we have all of these deltas, and you think an AI is going to be able to come in and just take care of all of this work. And oh, by the way, overlay your unique business context, which could make a Microsoft CVE that's supposed to be critical in the wild mean nothing here, or a low level one mean everything here. And you don't even really understand the business context. We have to come together in a room and talk about it. How is an AI tool going to do those things? And of course, I say it much more eloquently with pictures.
No, the church just there, our non-denominational house of worship. Like, yes, let's take a step back. Like, let's get our verbiage correct. Okay, let's get those straight. Like, I love
that's excellent. I'm going to steal that right there. Let's make sure that we're speaking the same language. Where's the Rosetta Stone? So we're all on the same page, right? Because I found myself going in last week, I'm triggered now. I was in the room talking and not even on the same page, same book, same library. It totally went off the rails, right? But once you've established that, all right, we're talking from the same sheet of music, Mr. CISO, then you start to see that they open up a little bit more, talk a little bit more, admit a little bit more to you, because if you're consulting and you're coming in, you do it. You've been around. You're the high-paid consultant. You're supposed to have all the answers, but at the same time, you don't get the honesty and the transparency that you do your job. So how do you break that down to be able to get to the CISOs to trust you, tell you what keeps them up at night?
Honestly, I do get a lot of that trust by having one-on-ones. So if they know that we're coming into a one-on-one space and they're the one who is the client, I'm not going to tell them all the things we've talked about to their leadership. So they're the one that's paid for the bill, right? So we have that very robust discussion. And if they're coming to me, they're already in a different space than when I'm, say, working for them, because they've acknowledged they need help. So it's been so interesting to see how open-minded and vulnerable they are from the very beginning. In fact, I've had them say, leaving calls, I've never felt more heard. And just to use that phrase is pretty vulnerable, right? So it's interesting to see how vulnerable they get in those one-on-ones when they feel like they can be open to that person and it's not going to go somewhere. And what I'm learning is they all feel that weight of how much they're being held liable for, but how little they actually have authority over. And I just feel the empathy for that.
I was looking at your website, looking at your services, and the way you just portrayed that just brought everything about your services into a clear picture for me, because you're not only advisory, you're professional development for these individuals, a trusting soundboard with no judgment because the CISOs don't want to seem as though they're underwater. They don't want to seem like they're doing too good a job, and they don't really have anyone. And then every time you try to get executive coaching, it's in a room full of everybody. Nobody wants to raise their hand and be the dumb CISO, right? So, but it sounds like you're able to do these one-offs, sort of like literally a professional coach that can pull them to the side and do. Oh, that's. Yep. I've not encountered that a whole lot where you can do one-on-ones like that. It's always a conference you have to go to.
That's the thing. There's just so many opportunities if you want to go out there and focus on solely the technical piece or solely the strategy piece. But I feel like a lot of those are pretty cold. And what we're leaving out is the emotional piece, the compassionate piece. And leadership, I believe, is a calling. And that people element and those, for lack of a better word, feelings, that's part of it. And I'm very analytical. So I'm like, well, let's have our feelings, but then let's talk about what we're going to do to fix the world. But there has to be a little bit of space made for that, because I think sometimes we can be in a role in a company and feel alone when we're in cyber. Like I'm struggling with so many things. I feel like my leadership doesn't understand what we do. I feel like they don't understand my people. They're not valuing what we bring to the table. And you can feel alone, but when you're talking to other people who are in cybersecurity, everyone has moments where they feel like that, and that's a powerful thing to acknowledge.
I'm not a CISO in role or in job, but I'm interested in having one of your sessions for myself, right? Because if you have those ambitions, you have to learn to talk, right? And if at one time I was accused of being too technical, but like Brody said, I'm just a salesperson now. My feelings are still hurt, Brody, for that.
I just said it like 9 months ago to get a rise out of him. He brings it up. He uses it to pinch
all the greatest sellers have been technical in their past lives, and that's what creates that relationship of trust. Like when I've seen a seller knock it out of the park, they're just showing up authentically, and obviously there's like they have targets, but they're just having conversations. And they're always relating it back to their experience, and they're leading with empathy, because they're like, listen, I know what it was like on the other side. I joined the mothership, because there is that human dimension, Brody, where they don't want to pass the hurt to somebody else. They're trying to change the world in that lane, and I think that it does make a difference. And customers actually, you can tell when they respond well to sellers who have lived that life and know what they are talking about.
Yeah, and Brody's a consultant, so he's definitely in there where a lot of his work is trust building, right? I've been in that role. You walk in the room, you get that trust building. You become that sage for them, right? But it's hard when Lisa, you're selling trust, services, experience, art, leadership, ideas. And it takes a lot of bravery to do that when in the end, there's not something you could attach to the back of it. You have confidence in this thing that you're giving to them. Like, yeah, buy this. But you were the thing you were asking them to buy. You're buying my experience. I'm telling you, don't step that way, go this way, right?
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
It is. It's scary. And I am not going to lie. I've got imposter syndrome. And sometimes I think it gets worse the older I get. So, and I actually mentor a lot of people who will come in and say they have imposter syndrome. And I was like, that just tells me you are mature and humble, and you've been in this space a while, because I think it was when I was in my early 20s where I was like, I got this. This is nothing. But the longer I'm in leadership and cybersecurity, the more I realize how much more there is to learn.
Yeah, that's I didn't think about it that way. It's experience-based or experience-induced imposter syndrome. Because the more experience, you second guess yourself, right? And you're like, oh no, or you want to be that experience. That's a good point, and all of us are high performance on here. You would think that the higher you go, that the confidence is like, but now you want to be the pinnacle and you don't want to fall off, Experience-induced imposter syndrome. We need to put that in there too. They just add that to them and trademark that before Lisa goes and trademark it, right? So you guys were great. You guys were at DEF CON together, just hanging out. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
What were you guys doing at DEF CON?
I don't know. What were you doing at DEF? I was existing at DEF CON. I was. We
I know I was going to come, but I couldn't break off and get there with you.
But Lisa, tell us about. Do you go to DEF CON like every year annually? Was it special this year? Tell us more. Tell us everything about you, Lisa.
Oh my. Well, I just, I've been going for about 3 or 4 years now, and it was actually a friend I worked with who got me to go, and I just loved it so much. I didn't realize what I was getting myself into, and I followed him around the first time to get the full experience. And after that, I was like, well, I have to go here every year because this is my kind of people. And I mean, I haven't soldered anything in years. I'm not the person on keyboard very often anymore. And I actually went into a workshop and soldered things. And it was the crayons, Ray, if you remember, I posted a picture of them. It was a military, I've got my box of crayons and I will shut up and color. So that's what I soldered. And just a chance to connect with people from throughout the cybersecurity community, because it's really kind of pretty small. And so I run into people there I hadn't seen in years, and it's so fun to just randomly run into somebody. I'm like, I know you, and catch up.
And folks from all levels, like, so you're like a CISO and you're just hanging out soldering, right? And so you have noobs, you have folks who maybe have been in the industry but not in a technical capacity. You have like the full range, the full breadth of the cyber world kind of gather for DEF CON. Would you recommend that if the show were going to like, you know, connect and meet in person, like as a whole group, which we weren't able to do at the last conference. But if we were to, would you recommend DEF CON's the place?
Oh, totally. And you should probably do one of those scavenger hunts together.
Yeah. Okay. Lisa, you didn't know Ray was throwing shade because the three, her, Brody, and Rodney, they were able to go to Ignite. I couldn't.
And you didn't.
Yeah.
He was sick. He got sick, poor guy. But if we were going to plan when you like genuinely, DEF CON is the place to do it, right?
I think it's pretty fun, and it doesn't hurt that it's in Vegas. So you don't get bored outside of those hours either if you want to leave the building.
Yeah. I'm not a big Vegas fan, but I could go to Vegas and do that. Going to like the Bay Area seems like it's just a slowdown. Maybe we'll go this year, Ray. We'll pile up and go to DEF CON.
Let's do it.
August, right?
Yes.
In the heat. It is hot. But one awesome thing about Vegas is the food, and I pretty much travel just to eat. So I would highly recommend at least picking somewhere where there's good food.
I love to eat and cook, so you got me right there. I'm an eater. Brody's real quiet. His hockey team must have won, so he's so excited and satisfied right there. It's been real.
That why the maple leaf?
He's putting the business case together to get approval to go to DEF CON. He's like, what do I have to tell my leadership to get? He's good. He's sharp. He's the one that is always getting approved.
Well, let me ask this, Ray, are you going to DEF CON this year?
I'm thinking about it. I mean, at least if you're going this year, I know Nina or Janine Medina, where she was a guest for, she leads the biohacking village. She's the executive director, so she's obviously leading that. But Lisa, are you also attending DEF CON this year?
I am planning to, and I just heard the tickets just went on sale.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I might have to go ahead and go plan DEF CON. I put it right here.
Plan DEF CON.
DEF CON. Yeah, we'll do that. Do the Microsoft Security Insight podcast. People would be trying to break into our stuff. Oh, you guys are Microsoft, huh? We'll get you. We'll show you, Mr.
They're so lovely. They're that like they are gentle with
gentle.
They're good folks.
Except for that wall of shame thing they do.
I've encountered, the nice folks, but maybe that's just, what it is. Who knows? It takes all kinds. I'm more excited to see Brody's business case to get approval. I'm wondering what gears are turning because I see it happening, but always when he makes it happen.
I wanted to go. I haven't been before. I definitely, it's on the new budget year, so there's a chance. See how it
goes. Always chance. Yeah.
At least I got a question for you.
We do have to figure out what show we're going to get to.
Take them back.
What advice would you have for other women looking to get into cybersecurity, given your experiences and your path?
Ooh, that's a good question. When I joined so long ago, I was most frequently the only female at the table, and I had some wonderful male mentors and leaders, but I had my first boss that was female when I was 35. And I didn't even notice what I had been missing in my career until I had this person who was also a mother, who could understand that part of me, and trying to juggle and in any of a number of things that were unique to being a female. So I highly recommend networking and finding those females within STEM that you are inspired by and you believe in, and using that as your way to learn what your path should be as you're discovering yourself through soundboarding with those people that you trust. In general, I know it's hard to get into cybersecurity nowadays if you don't have a lot of real world experience, and you're like, how am I supposed to get real world experience if no one will hire me?
Right.
And it sounds pretty basic, but internships have actually changed even my mind as a leader on people who come into cyber without experience. I piloted an internship program at one of the companies I worked for, taking people that were actually still in college, and the fresh eyes that I saw them come to the table with that actually changed the way we were doing business amongst people who had been doing it for years was amazing to see. And it changed my whole perspective on hiring people who don't have experience, real world experience yet. So finding ways to get out there and display how your mind works, even if you don't have that cybersecurity experience, I highly recommend, and finding your voice through those mentors.
Yeah,
that's great advice. I appreciate that. Yeah, the chicken and the egg problem, right? You know, I need experience before I get the job. To get the job, I need experience. Just take a shot. Yeah, I get in there, get dirty. Maybe you don't like it. Maybe you give Lisa a groundbreaking new outlook on how to do business. I mean, I just think people should be taking a chance. It sounds like, right, Lisa? Don't be afraid to take the chance if it's something you're passionate about. Yeah, that's great advice.
Absolutely. And don't change who you are to try to get those people that want to hire you, because that's something I wish I could have told myself 20 years ago. If you're at the table with a bunch of people who don't recognize the value you bring just by you being yourself, you probably are at the wrong table.
Yeah. I went through a rough period, in the midterm of my career, that I had to professionally code switch all the time to be able to do it, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be invited to the meetings where all the real stuff happens, right? You go to the meetings with everyone, and then you see it. Hey, we're going to do this after the so-and-so. You're not invited to the dance. But when you talk about internship and bringing individuals on, I have noticed that the internship is not in its purest form as it used to be. Now, when you intern individuals, it's more about getting them to do rather than getting them to learn, right? Mm-hmm. So they should have an opportunity that a resulting good day is that you learn something. Not that you did something, but I learned something today. And be enthusiastic about, let me show you what I did. I don't see that hardly anymore. And maybe because of the role I'm in, maybe just circles. But internships used to be a huge learning thing. And it made individuals consider your company as the person that they wanted to work for if it was a college thing, right? But internship and mentorship is still huge. And I don't hear that much anymore. I just don't. It's so structured and built into the company's program of what they do.
Yeah.
I just don't hear it anymore. It's good though. Ray's a good mentor, isn't she? Aren't you, Ray?
Am I a good mentor?
Yes.
I do my best to have informal mentorship relationships.
Ray told me everything.
I don't have an established program where it's like, get mentored by Ray. That should be my next LinkedIn post.
I'm telling you. Hey, and so I put it out there, Lisa, you're not stealing Ray from us. She's on the contract.
I'm so sorry. I would go anywhere Lisa would I will just, if Lisa wants me anywhere, I'm just there. I just
not still on a binding contract. There we go.
I'd like to see this contract, Edward. You keep bringing it up. I've never seen it. Must be.
It's in blood, Brody.
It's in blood. Oh, that was that day I woke up and I was woozy.
Yeah, and the entire contract was
that was not. It's always Rod's not even here. We only go off the rails when Rod is here. So I guess this is an homage to Rod's.
Well, why isn't he here then? That off the rails is my modus operandi.
Lisa, this is why you guys can't compete with the Lisa.
No, he's not here because he had a new contract to sign and he hasn't woken up yet.
Yes.
He hasn't woken up yet.
New contract to sign. So, Lisa,
it's not you, Lisa. It's him. It's Rod's fault entirely that he's not here. Just know that it's not you, and we appreciate you. Can't believe Rod
I'm
wouldn't
gonna
be here for you
send
today.
him a note right afterwards and
I
tell
would.
him my feelings were hurt. If I had feelings, they would have been hurt.
yes, if you had feelings. So, as you still navigate this, you were in another quarter of your career. You're doing things that you love. You're smiling. You're happy about it. You get new fear. Sometimes I take on assignments because I want a new fear. The old stuff doesn't scare me anymore and challenge. I want something else to startle me, right?
I love that.
And I want to do that. What's the new fear for you?
Mm.
You're still in it now, but you got new fears to go do.
Honestly, it's not having a consistent paycheck that I sign the contract in blood, that I know what it's going to be every 2 weeks, and that bonus comes in and that equity comes in. Like, that's the fear for me. And it's especially when people are still coming and offering me jobs. I mean, I got offered one the other day, and I looked at my husband and I was like, am I crazy to turn that down? And he said, yes, but this is what you want to do. And I mean, first of all, he's just amazing. I actually haven't said anything about him, but I need to say something about him because he's so amazing. And he has been the single dad when I've gone away for those 3 1-year stints. And she was 1.5 at her youngest. And somehow her hair was brushed and maybe her clothes didn't match, but she was showered and she got to her daycare every day. But he's also been so supportive throughout all of this. And sometimes it's this field can be difficult, and you have that day where you just like, am I even in the right seat on the bus? And he's always the one that reminds me that I am. And so I just have to give him a shout out, even though he's not listening, because he went to the craft room to do something with a nerdy board game.
Cool.
With Warhammer?
It is Blood Bowl, if you've heard of that game.
Blood Bowls?
Blood Bowl.
Yeah, he has a new friend to play this with.
He will definitely, and he has played Warhammer, and oh my goodness, my first station was Guam, so we moved to Guam when we were newly married, and he played World of Warcraft. That's when that was just coming out, so I would call myself the WoW widow while we're in the Asia time zone, playing with Filipino bots. So like, he does all those things. If you want a new friend, he will be down for those.
I currently play World of Warcraft, do not play Warhammer because I have no money to dedicate to it. But if he's going into the craft room to do Blood Bowls, then he is far and away more into that than
that's very cool.
Yes.
That's pretty badass. That
is super badass.
It takes to be successful, to have, because he's successful as well, right? It's not like he's your stay-at-home husband.
No, he's amazing. No,
shout out to stay-at-home partners, but he has his own career, and he's just like, you know what, Lisa, you're a goddess. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out, and I'm gonna also do my Blood Bowl situation in the craft room. You're worth it. Our family's worth it, and he just makes it happen. And that's just a testament to like your brilliance and your amazing energy. And like, I love it. I love all of it.
Yeah.
Oh, he did try to be a house husband. He tried to be a house husband early in our marriage. While I was living in Guam, it's 4 miles wide. He's an industrial engineer. There's not a lot of engineering things to do there. So he actually just went back to school and got his master's degree. I would come home from work and he was like, I did the laundry, and I would see 8 loads just crumpled on the guest bed. I'm like, you just washed it and then threw it there? Like, you didn't fold it. and
folding's different.
Oh, he got this little convertible and he put on his Hawaiian shirts. It's a tropical island. And I would get these notes. Hey, Lisa, I saw your husband driving around to the next tiki bar at lunch. And so I come home one day and he goes, I think I would like to be a house husband. And I was like, you don't cook. You don't clean, and your definition of laundry is vastly different from mine. So I don't see how this works for either of us, because I just had to come home from work and do it. So he did try that many years ago.
Yeah, I never got an opportunity to do it. I don't think I could. I like cooking. I clean fairly okay. What was the other thing? Folding clothes. Do you have to fold them when they're clean or dirty? I'm not sure.
Did we all miss the part where he just got another master's and then he like contemplated being a house husband, and then Lisa's like, no, that is not what's going to happen. You're going to go work with the addition. Did he have a master's before that? Was it an extra master? Okay,
It's
so
a new master's.
Yeah. Okay. No. So yeah. No. This is a hilariously beautiful, like a very comedic but loving situation, and I wish it were like on like a cable show because I would tune in every week because it sounds super cute. Okay, so you don't need a house husband because you have a husband with a career. But he tried it, but you decided not for our family.
Nope.
And you get offers for jobs that you decline often. I believe it. I think you should have like a repo of jobs that you've declined. And do you pass them on to other people? Are you like, hey, it's not for me, but you should like reach out to so-and-so?
Sometimes, yeah. I've been remote for 15 years. I'm pretty passionate about the work-life balance that brings. So when I get offered jobs that are aligned with that, I want to be able to pass those on to other people too. It's kind of a weird age we're in right now. I was remote before COVID happened. And what is this face that Brody is giving?
I'm just looking at Blood Bowls. Like, this is like really interesting take on Warhammer. I think my buddies might actually want to get into this, but we just don't do the painting because that's like all the work.
Well, he paints them. That's one of his favorite things. He's an introvert. So that is one of his favorite things is to go sit in a room where I don't bother him too much.
If I do blood paintings, can I just tell people I'm an introvert? Like, pay no mind to my blood paintings. Yeah. I'm just introverted.
Except for you're using real blood.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, now I wish I had pictures.
I used to play Dark Age of Camelot. Don't give me. Listen, I got my stripes too. Listen, all right, we're all nerds here, okay? Brody is now. He's gonna start stalking your husband, Lisa, and I really.
I'm not gonna stalk him unless he wants to play World of Warcraft Season of Discovery Phase 7 Nax Ramus.
What incantation did you just perform on me?
Yeah, I just forgot all of yesterday. I know what he did. It got me. Well, Lisa, it sounds like this journey, this challenge that you took on, the new fear, I have no doubt that you'll crush it, right? And you'll look for another fear and another fear. And what would you say to someone out there who wants to sit here and take that plunge? Because you say you started this because you were going places, you were consulting, you were bringing the good work, the good news, the good word, and sometimes you found people who weren't receptive. It seemed like they were just going through the motions. So you went out, you started this, you want to get people in the best place they can as far as thought leadership. How do you go about evolving that a little bit? Or I sort of lost the clever question I was going to ask just that quickly.
You're never clever.
Yeah, it was. I had a senior moment. It happens. As you navigate this consultative, advisory, trusted camaraderie, thing that you are doing, what do you see around the corner for? I mean, is this something that you believe that CISOs really, really need? And you're going to see more like you come around because it seems now the CISOs are going numb because everybody thinks a product, a solution, or AI. How does the human experience excel over the things that they've come up through the ranks to believe is the only way to do it? Let me go back and show them the question.
Yes, please.
How do you?
It's classic Edward. It's classic Edward. It's the question and then his own thoughts and then forgets the question.
Yeah,
he's gonna roll again. He's gonna roll again here with a question for you, Lisa. Go ahead, Edward.
Mr. CISO, here are the top 5 things I believe that will help you in your current situation. That's the question. I'm the CISO.
Oh,
help me out.
Now we're role playing. Okay.
I have no business context to know what his problems are.
Ooh,
well, I got employees that don't want to work. They want to play Blood Bowl all day. What am I here? I got Ray. She's part-time between 4 or 5 things and getting her 3rd master's degree and everything else. She doesn't want to sit in the soft chair. I have no budget because Rod's never at work.
Right. No budget. Nobody updates anything because they're playing Blood Bowl. Ray's not home. Okay. So it's basically like the worst case scenario, Lisa. Like it's like we can't even keep this company secure.
Okay, I got it.
I'll give you one more piece of context to it.
Oh, okay. Please.
I just got the role of CISO, and I know I'm in over my head.
And I saw brand new.
And someone brought me in and said, "Hey, you need to talk to her if you want to keep your job, sir." I just brought you in. Help me keep my job, Lisa. Please.
All right. So
right, Lisa.
the first thing I would say is entire teams don't suck. So if you feel like your whole team sucks, maybe the problem is you.
I like that.
So let's talk through, let's talk through, I would say it nicer. But I was like, let's talk through how we can figure out, you're new. So maybe the problem is the guy who came in before you, right? So let's talk through how we can assess current state on morale and culture and get your team to a place where they believe you want to make it better, because that will start trust. And the trust is what you're going to need to see anything progress. And then you got way too much on your plate and you're not really sure how to attack it. So we need to actually figure out what you need to do in what order, and then tell your leadership the things that aren't going to get done today, because you're going to have 786 things to worry about, and you can make 5 better this year. And just be real honest about that risk discussion. And then you've got to figure out how to talk to the different audiences. You might need to learn what resonates with each one. And when we're talking board or C-suite, you might need to learn what resonates with each individual, and then play to those strengths. And then you got to have a lot of friends, and they can't just be cybersecurity friends. You're going to want to make a friend on the legal team, and you're going to want to make a friend in the procurement team, and you're going to want to make a friend in the external communications team. And you're going to use all those friends. You're going to teach them why what you need done is what they also need done. And then you're going to come together as strength and voices to the senior leadership team. And it's going to be a lot harder to say no. And then I got templates for all those things, so you can actually see them in something actionable.
And that
I'm checking out on my website and hire my services at.
Yes.
That is
the service that I got for free pro because you went through your pitch, and not once did you say, buy something, use this product, talk. You need to strengthen identity. You need to strengthen your IDS. You need to strengthen this and that. You came in and said, these are the things, right? And I find that a lot of security professionals have a hard time quantifying and measuring the importance of the things that they can't put their hand on, right? Or you can't install, or you can't say, I bought it. And that's great. I took all those down for it. You know, I feel like I owe you money. I should send you money.
I love that you said that, though, because that's actually something I see a lot in companies. The leaders that are bolstered are the ones that bolted on the new thing. And that's so frustrating to me. We don't always need a new tool, but it's a tangible thing that at the end of the day, you can say, I turned on. And sometimes it actually hurts the business goals more than it helps them. But because leaders aren't oftentimes really doing the hard work of understanding what their teams need to be doing, they'll applaud that bolt-on tool that may not have moved the needle at all. So I really love that you said that.
Yeah, it goes to the easy button. I can say I did it, check a box, move on, right? I've had many moments of professional and career cowardice that I would not get away from the thing that made me safe. Like, I know how to do stuff, but to evolve, you have to sort of pull back and let somebody else do the stuff. So I've had many bouts of career cowardice where I had time to go, but this is a safe spot for me. I don't want to move from this, right? Plus, it's good. Well, we want to be respectful of your time. Make sure that you go get your husband from playing Blood Bowl all day. Get your kiddo. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Feel free to come back at any time.
I would love to.
We're putting your information in our show notes so people will know how to find you. Referral fee. And skill to sales person. Thank you so much, Lisa. Any closing words before you leave?
Just thank you for having me. It was such an honor, and you all made it so fun, and I'm so excited to get to know you guys better, and I would love to come back sometime. And I have a feeling I might get to know Brody even better, perhaps after this show through my husband. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. He's like, what's his handle so I can get on Blood Bowl with him? So everyone, thank you so much. We will be back on the 17th for our next show. As we continue to celebrate women in cyber, women that rock the world, keeping us safe, even when we don't know it, right? We're getting it done. Thank you so much again, Lisa. Until next time, same bat time, same bat channel. Everybody have a good one. Peace.